Good morning. Today is the 8th of, no it's not, it's the 14th of May, and we are in the Five Bogs area. We are going to move today into an area north of the Five Bogs and have a look through there, check for sign and the like, and do what basically we've called in the past a pattern sweep to see if there's signs of activity. It's going to be the lion's share of what we do a lot of this year until we hit some activity. We're going to cover the entire area as a whole until we can pinpoint, if we can pinpoint the current location of the family unit, we'll do that. If not, maybe we'll have an accidental run-in with number 3, or maybe come across a new item for study as well, but that's where we are, and that's what our plan is for today. So we're going to get moving, and thanks for coming along for the ride, and that's where we are. So we're actually kind of doing our first segment a little bit late into the day. We are we've walked out from the Five Bogs for at least an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours by now. We're on our way back. We're actually in a familiar stretch of woods though, because in videos past you've seen me do a hike where I have to cross 3 small rivers to get to the cabin that we're coming up on the left. And when the gates are open, that's the shorter version of the walk. Today we went the long way. And it's surprisingly warm. And to my chagrin, the black flies are out. Only now have they kind of abated a little bit. We're going to be doing some exploration when we get to a set of ponds in an area I dubbed the Stump Garden. Some of the network members have been there before, but we probably have a good half an hour's walk to get back there. Why did I walk all the way out here, you ask? Or even if you didn't? Building up some trail endurance and kind of gauging how far I can cover at my normal pace in what amount of time, in order to gauge the pace I set when I do my overland trip that's going to take about 12 hours. They say 10, but I'm assuming they are staking that at the pace of a section hiker, which is going to be less leisurely than I go, because I want to like study some of the terrain and such on the way, along the way rather. So what's the point of going out that far if you're not going to stop and enjoy the scenery and enjoy the part, you know, the part of the day when you actually can? I've never fully gotten that, but you know, to each their own. Everybody does that kind of thing for a different reason. I don't get section hikers, but then I don't have to be one. They have a different gig than I do, I guess. So far it's been quiet, other than black flies and various biting bugs. I expect when I get home I'm going to be a bug-bit mess, but the unfortunate reality is, and comment if you find differently, but I find that DEET means diddly to black flies, where it'll keep mosquitoes and deer flies at bay. Proof of evil on earth. Black flies not so much. I think I found a better way to anchor my police body cam to get a more stable, constant recording of everything the full time I'm out here. Simple matter of jerry rigging, so you're getting them. You're going to get some wobble. I don't think that's avoidable because people don't walk on loose terrain like robots. Unlike the other week with the drama of the day, this week again has reverted back for the most part to the usual BS. The neighboring group, not their members per se, but the crap that goes on in the group earns a little attention this week. There's a guy out there who is posting obvious pareidolia, and of course the true believers want to just eat it up and buy into it. And you know, all you can really say to that over time is, if you want to live in a fantasy world and have your fun doing that, you know, knock yourself out. But the interesting thing that was said was from the leader of the group, the head admin, who scolded somebody for calling somebody a fraud. Now, again, to each their own, because if he recognizes that I'm talking about him and he actually watches my videos for whatever reason, he's going to probably prove to be a passive-aggressive little bitch. Pardon my lack of subtlety, but past interactions have had this terminology earned. He scolded her for calling somebody a known fraud, which opened the gates to having his group, you know, spammed to death by bullshit from Todd Standing and Scott Carpenter, Dave Paulides, and these charlatans. And since this is a BFRO group that we're talking about, at least in name, one could throw out the name Chris Noel, who is going from last week's video that I have not uploaded yet. Somewhere between a hoaxer and a loon. But, you know, somebody of that nature too, so. His telling comment was, I don't want the liability of having somebody see themselves called a fraud. You know, I say to that, boo-hoo, Buttercup. The white noise never dissipates if you allow the bullshit to flow. That is an inescapable truth of the subject. Interesting he notes liability, though, because this same individual had absolutely no problem calling me an internet troll a while back in one of our less than perfect interactions. Hypocrisy much? Rather than have this be the rabbit hole this video goes down, I am going to take a segment break at this point, and we'll come back to more positive things. It was worth a mention. Okay, so we're back a little ways from where we were. The joke's on me, because I did get the drone in the air, but we recently had a history where we did actually update both of my drone apps for the Mini and the Spark, and I apparently forgot that with the Mini, because I haven't used it in a while, that you have to log on to your account to make the big boy settings work. So I was kind of working on you're limited to the amateur settings, where you're stuck at like 30 meters and 30 meters, which I'll work with what I got today, but I'll have to log in. The fun is, you're out in the middle of nowhere, you don't have a signal, so you can't log in. So I did set these settings to, I'll get home, I'll take care of that for the next time, but for now, the situation such as it is, I got enough for an intro to suit my purposes, but I would have liked to have flown it up and over this, but it cried about having not enough distance in the software allowance to do that, so life's a bitch. That being said, we are going to go over here and take a look around here at a water source I know of to look for. And while I'm here, I pose a question to the audience, and that is, what is it that makes black flies have it as their holy mission, aside from getting under your hat and biting your head, that they have to fly through every body hole that you have? They are hell-bent to get up your nose or in your ear, or to drink your eye fluid. Why do they do that? It's like they were crafted to achieve maximum annoyance aside from the biting. They are a scourge, and I despise them. And anyone who's going to say, well, they have their place in nature, frankly, right now can bite me. Because I don't want to hear it. They suck, you know they suck, and how dare you question me? So I walk through all this poker shit as we get over to this pond over here. Which, not a long walk, but you got to go through some stuff. So, in the up and coming, we will. I also didn't really get to test out my. I have a pair of drones, just to make the point. They're basically. They're not on par with the Mini or the Spark. I know that already. But therein lies some of the curiosity of them is, where are their limitations, and within those limitations, what can you actually make them do in a setting like this? So, that being said, so obligatory moose tracks, I think those are. So much fun trying to control the camera when you're distracted by a small herd of deer flies trying to get at your eyes all at once. Not my favorite thing. So, some kind of a spider-esque thing crawling on me too. But it was a spider, not a tick. Which is kind of a catch-22. So, permethrin has no effect on spiders, just so you know. It is pretty tick specific. And I've kind of come to be unsympathetic to some people with tick-related things, because every effing year, people whine about ticks, and every effing year, I say Sawyer's permethrin. Read the instructions. I've used it for years. No ill side effects. Not had a tick on me so far, knock on wood. People ignore me. People get bit up with ticks and have worries about Lyme disease and shit. And they don't listen. So, you are a product. Okay, this is interesting. Like all soft. Let me show you. It's all soft, dry grass, but underneath there, the minute you start walking on this, you immediately notice you're on soft, crappy mud underneath that. So I'm going to move off of that, so I don't take the mystery sink. I had that happen last year. It was kind of disconcerting. It wasn't enough to actually pose a mortal danger to you quicksand-wise, but it was enough that you have to kind of think about getting out of it without, yeah, there you go, without panicking, because the minute you panic, you're going to start to mess up, and then you're kind of making your situation worse. I'm trying to not over-engage in this, but there's not really a way to get over to this little peninsula here without walking on some of this. I'm trying to minimize it though. I had that experience last year where I kind of sunk in and I took one step and I went from instantly being like at boot level to like well over my knee, and it was interesting to say the least. And then when you get stuck in that, you have to go slow, take your time, and not eat parts of the forest. But they, actually there's a black fly trying to get down my throat, fun. And they, you know, you have to, if the minute you panic, you're going to start doing stupid stuff. So you kind of have to control yourself in that venue. So you kind of bounce through here and get a look at this. This looks like a glorified stream bed, though. But the reason we check is because of this. That soft mud is where you'd have a lot of good track possibilities. And from here I can see some deer tracks. There's some moose tracks around here too, but nothing especially squatchy. But that is the lion's share of what I wanted to get a look at today. Let me just assess something over here real quick. Part of me wants to believe that's another stream, but it's not. It goes up into the woods. So we're going to stay down here for now. We're going to take a segment break to get away from the bugs, and we'll be back in a bit.